Welcome back to Peek into COS. This episode is brought to you from the Studio 809 Community Podcast at the Next Us, a professional cooperative environment for small businesses in downtown Colorado Springs. Today, we are joined by Jake Weien, owner of 1350 Distilling. Welcome, Jake.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here. I know that your roots didn't start in Colorado Springs. I mean, you're kind of a West Coast California guy. Let's talk about telling listeners your story, how you got here, and how people will probably be able to relate to how they got here too.
Exactly.
So, yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, it is a similar story for folks that do live here. My wife and I were just engaged. We were living in Flagstaff, Arizona. We went to school there at Northern Arizona University, and we just gotten engaged, and I was real big into microbrews, and Colorado was the place to go. So we did a huge road trip through Durango, Fort Collins, Denver, and then our last stop was Colorado Springs. And we just fell in love. We didn't know much. You know, those are the days of we might have had AOL to research, but we basically had a roadmap, and we bought a Breweries of Colorado map, and that basically guided us through the state. And we came here. Bristol Brewing was their first location. You know, we hung out there, and Phantom Canyon. You know, we started visiting these places. That was our reason, but then we didn't even know about Garden of the Gods, and this is where Pikes Peak is, and from that time on, that was before kids and everything, we always were drawn to it. My brother and his wife were moving to Denver, and I said, you should really check out Colorado Springs, and we gave them a tour. We came and visited, and the whole time I'm like, man, I really want to live here sometime. Tried to get a job here, just didn't work. Right. So fast forward years later, I'm working for myself as a designer. My wife is teaching. She was kind of like, I need a break. And I said, you know what?
You were in Arizona, weren't you?
And we were still in Arizona.
Yeah,
we were in Flagstaff.
Yeah, still there.
And said, you know what? Well, we could move pretty much wherever we want. So where do we want to go? And Colorado Springs was top of the list. We did have some friends that had moved here. My brother and his family had moved here. My parents from California had moved here as well, too. And and everything clicked, right? We put our house on the market. It sold immediately. And next thing we knew, 2009, we were here. And we love it. I mean, it seems like just yesterday, but we really now feel like we're part of this community. And really the last 6-7 years, we've really dug our roots in more with our business. Yeah. That there's never a sense of us wanting to be anywhere else.
So Jake, you went from like 7,000 feet to 6,300.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Most people move up when they come to Colorado
And this is
Springs.
what I tell people, and a lot of people don't realize, is that the climate is so much like Flagstaff.
Right.
Except for Flagstaff gets more snow than we do.
They do.
And I was tired of shoveling snow, so this has been a nice transition. We do get a little bit colder than Flagstaff, but you know, in an hour's time we can be in Denver. In an hour and a half we can be way in the mountains doing all the outdoor activities that we love as well too. So that culture, where in Flagstaff it was a minimum 2 hours to get to any bigger city. Yeah. And make use of all the culture there. But even in the time that we've been here in Colorado Springs, the culture has just blossomed. Shows, you know, music, great restaurants, so many things.
So for those of you who are thinking about visiting, you know, the Visit COS website will give you lots of ideas for itineraries. But today we want to have you get a real insight into 1350 Distilling. And when you go to your website, Jake, there's a phrase there that I want to use to kind of tee up what we're going to be talking about. And you've described 1350 Distilling, I think maybe your mission is to celebrate the American spirit of our military and their loved ones, one drink at a time.
Yeah.
And when people, you know, look at your product and see the stars and stripes, it's patriotic, it's symbolic. Let's talk about what it is that really prompted you to theme 1350 Distilling?
Yeah, well, it started with an idea, which my business partner Phil Bragg was getting ready to retire from the Marines after 27 years. His wife worked with my wife at Douglas Valley Elementary School on the Air Force Academy, and we started becoming friends. And I was looking at our timeline. That was 10 years ago that we first became friends. It was a couple years after that, when Phil was about ready to retire, he came to me to do design work and marketing, and he says, hey, I have this idea. I want to do all these different spirits, and I want each spirit to represent a different branch of military. Of course, he favors the Marines a bit more for obvious reasons. Well, that really struck to me because my dad was Air Force for 25 years. My brother was in the Army. Abby's family is mostly Navy. Okay. So we had this, and we know that military branches can sometimes act like siblings, right? Is that I'm going to pick on my little brother, but you can't pick on my little brother, right? So, and the one thing that we didn't want, because I think the breakdown of our ownership, we have 1 veteran and 3 civilians, really is a reflection of America for the most part. Only about 20% of the U.S. population have served. But out of that, we have a brother, we have a father, a mother, a cousin, someone you went to high school with that has served. And so that celebrating the American spirit, and it doesn't matter what your race is, what your religion, gender, is that the one thing that really unifies us is our patriotism, our love for America, and that's very diverse. And the one thing we didn't want to do as a business was say, no, it's only people that have served in the military, because even though those individuals are committing themselves to our military, there's a ripple effect. There's so many people that are involved that appreciate what they're doing in the community. And so that was why it was very easily for us to expand not just military branding, but our law enforcement, our firefighters as well too. We have great friends and family that are serving our communities that way too. And then the 1 drink at a time is our whole taste room. Everything we wanted was to make it feel like a living room. And that idea that when my brother came home from the Army, and that first night of us just sitting at the dining room table or in the living room and having a drink and telling stories, right? That communing, getting back together and appreciating one another. And so our whole establishment, our area, we have a living room-like taste room.
Yes, you do.
We have a wall of honor, which are all portraits of family and friends that have served from as far back to pre-World War II to current day, all branches. We need a Space Force up there, but they've thrown a few kinks in our chain.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Because the Space Force, we opened our doors in November 2019. December 2019, the Space Force became an actual branch. So we've made some adjustments to work our brand with that. But that's how we celebrate the American spirit.
Well, and Jake, I realize that listeners don't know the day that we're recording this, but it is... Here we are, it's the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. And so it's perfect that we're sitting here talking about your business and the way in which you celebrate those that have served and those that have sacrificed. And so we thank those who are listening for all you have given to our country and the freedoms that we enjoy.
Absolutely. So. And so much of just living and loving and all of that is we do have Memorial Day weekend happening here now. But part of our want is that let's enjoy us all here together now, because we know that we won't always be here together. Yeah. So the memory is one thing, but making the memory is another important thing.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, you've been in business now. I guess it'll be your 5th year.
We're going on 4.5 right now. Going on 5.
Going to 5. And your business model is just predicated and thrives on giving back to the community, and you kind of touched on it when you said first time here, and you're checking out Bristol and you're checking out Phantom, and just knowing that part of what makes Colorado Springs such a special place is those that give back to the community. So let's talk a little bit about how you do that and some of the impact that it's had on our on Colorado Springs.
Yeah, on every single one of our bottles, we pledge 10% of our profits back to local charities.
Yep.
We tend to focus on, we have a lot of them, but we tend to focus on military, family, and children organizations. And that ranges a wide variety. I did look up, last year we donated over $10,000 in either in-kind cash back to these different nonprofits. And we do that based off of our friends at Bristol and New Belgium Brewery, their model of giving back to the community. You know, here we are opening up this distillery in 2019, and to some it's a big, bad, negative thing, and really what we want to be is part of the community. And it is both military, but also the people who have military out serving us as well too. And so we do it a number of ways. So, you know, we do in-kind donations to all kinds of different fundraisers and things like that. We started up our Angel Battalion, which is our philanthropic arm. We have special events. We've gone full quarters where every bottle we sell in our taste room, 10% goes to that nonprofit. What we have found is that's a great way for us for advertising, because a couple things. One's it's introducing people in these organizations who we feel we are like-minded in giving back, and we find that those groups of people appreciate our donations and and that word of mouth natural goes on. And because of that, you know, when we first started, Mount Carmel, of course, was our first nonprofit that we worked with. But then we met other people out of that, and we've also had the Honor Flight of Southern Colorado giving trips to veterans to Washington, D.C., the Veterans Victory Alliance that does outdoor therapy for PTSD, Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Partnership, you know, which really, especially in El Paso County, is a conversation we need to have, and they provide great free services to all sorts of folks. And so that just being in the room with those folks is, one, rewarding to us, and two, we know that those dollars that we're donating to them is affecting our community as well.
Well, and I know you work with the firefighters too.
Exactly. In fact, a good chunk of what we donated was to the Colorado Springs Firefighter Association, and part of that was we did a special bourbon for them, our memorial bourbon for the week of the Fallen Fire Memorial. We're going to do that again this year as well too, and same thing. So we're talking with that group. We also have the End of Watch, A Ride to Remember, which is a traveling memorial for fallen law enforcement officers. Unfortunately, they will be here June 10th to honor the Fountain police officer, as well as our El Paso County sheriff deputy that passed away in 2022. We got connected with them through COVID. Every night on their tour around the United States, honoring the survivors and the fallen, they use our Code 4 bourbon as the toast, and they show that on Facebook Live every night, and it starts basically June 1 all the way through Labor Day. So if you are interested, it's a powerful memorial, just as powerful as the Fallen Firefighter Memorial as well too. We have lots of firefighters that come in. So those are just a couple ways that we give back, not just locally, but on a bigger scale. And the bourbons, we think the memorial bourbons are best one we've ever done, and those are limited runs, but
well, maybe we'll try something here.
Maybe,
so let's let listeners know exactly where you are located in downtown Colorado Springs and what they can expect. You've described the tasting room, but let's talk about, you know, where you are and what it's been like since you've opened the business.
Oh, well, that's a whole conversation there. But we're located at 520 East Pikes Peak Avenue. on the eastern side of downtown Colorado Springs. We call it Edo. Eastern Downtown. We're on Pikes Peak Avenue. We can step outside our door, and that street is aligned up with the summit of Pikes Peak. That's where the name came from. So we are right in the...
we can look behind us and we can see it.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a great old shop. It originally was a tire alignment shop built in the 60s. We have a nice big garage door. A lot of people think we're a firehouse because we have a big red awning out front, but we have a great patio. This time of year is great that if it does start to chill a little bit, we get to turn on our fire pit.
Yep.
We have what we think is the most beautiful bar in all of Colorado Springs. We built it, so we're a little biased,
right.
But it's all cherry wood, all copper top. We have a shuffleboard in there, and it is like a living room environment. We, as a taste room in Colorado, can only serve our products. Right. So we don't have beer or wine. It's a cocktail bar.
Yep.
And we have to get a little creative with that, too. So we source a lot of local ingredients. Pikes Peak Lemonade Company here in town helps us with a lot of our different flavors. Freshies out of Denver, the Real Deal Bloody Mary mix. So we use those in our cocktails, but we also sell those as well, too, because, we want a good tasting cocktail, but we aren't afraid to tell you what our recipe is, and these are all the ingredients. You can buy them all here, go home and make them yourself.
Go ahead and mimic us.
Right, yeah, exactly. So we share all of that,
the
too.
ultimate compliment.
We do tours every Saturday.
Okay, tours on Saturday.
We have an old-fashioned flight that's really exciting. We do a martini flight, great cocktails, but we have special events all throughout the month, the week, on our calendar. You can see all of that. Tours.
Happy hours?
Happy hours, thank you. They're all happy, but
true.
But our happy hours during the weekdays are 4 to 6, and we have 6 great cocktails. Our most favorite for just $8, reduced price, and then all day Sundays we're open from noon to 5.
Okay.
That's our happy hour there too.
So what do we have in front of us?
Oh, we have our whole spread here today.
We do.
Which, just to give you an idea, so we make vodkas, gins, rums, bourbons, and rye whiskey. We have a total of 9 bottled products.
Yeah.
And all of our vodkas and gins are made from Colorado sugar beets as our base. So that makes them Colorado Proud products, also gluten-free. We use natural ingredients when our flavored products. So our strawberry vodka is made with real strawberries. Our cinnamon, our 5-alarm cinnamon fire bourbon is made with real cinnamon and real whiskey. So it's kind of what some other more well-known cinnamon whiskeys want to be when they grow up. It's no extra sweeteners, really much better for you. But we're very proud. All of our spirits have won at least a silver medal or more.
Wow.
Our Code 4's got a double gold. Our Guardian has a gold, and that's what I want to share with you.
And you're in Olympic City, USA, so gold medals.
It's all about gold. We're excited for the Olympics too.
Yeah.
So our Guardian bourbon, when we first opened up, was dedicated to our Coast Guard.
Okay.
Right, and then the Space Force came around,
Yeah.
and it kind of blew a hole through our whole brand thing. But not too long after that, Colorado Springs became the headquarters for the Space Force.
Yes, it did.
So we still offer our Coast Guard version of our Guardian, and that can be purchased online through our website and shipped to up to 35 different states direct to your door. But here in Colorado Springs, it's the Space Force Guardian.
Yeah.
And Phil, my business partner, he loves that label the most. He thinks it's the sexiest,
All right. So
this here, and we're tasting, right? We don't have to shoot this. We just sip this a little bit.
Right.
This is our Guardian, 99% corn, 3 years aged.
That is about as smooth. Oh, it's fabulous.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for a bourbon, the mash bill has to be at least 51% corn. And everything we're doing, we don't want to try to make something that you've already had before.
Sure.
So one way we made the bourbon a little bit different is 99% corn. You'll definitely taste more of a sweetness in that as well, too. We have a lot of non-whiskey people leaving with a bottle.
Okay.
Right? They love that, right? So
Jake, one area don't know if we mentioned or had you talk about was food trucks. Do you do food trucks at 1350 as well?
We do.
Okay.
We do. We have our calendar. It kind of varies with the seasons, but our food truck list is going up. That's another way support local. You know, we want to focus on our cocktails and our spirits, and we have some great food trucks in this area. So,
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
So that's part of the experience as well.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Plus, because we don't have a kitchen, we tell folks, hey, you can always bring in food.
Yeah.
We have a few snack items and things like that, but if you want to order and have it brought to you, go for it. We have no issues with that.
Well, and you are living in, or your establishment is in downtown Colorado Springs, and what's happening around you is just exploding, with new places to live, and it's one of those things that we just haven't. Our city is really going through a renaissance, and
it is.
Just this week we're celebrating the fact that U.S. News and World Report named us the third best city in the country to live in, and you are so well positioned and located in an area that I just think the future really bodes well for 1350 Distilling, as well as,
I hope so.
Our restaurants and bars and everything that are happening downtown this weekend. The new piano bar Louis is opening,
yes.
And so we're still this mid-sized city that is. I will continue to think that we punch above our weight, and for people that come in, and you were an early ambassador. You didn't even live here, and you're convincing family members that they should move here. So they did, and then finally you and Abby and the girls.
Well, and it's funny is my in-laws ended up moving here. My in-laws ended up moving here. So it was like, I love visiting.
Well, before we begin to wrap, I want to take a quick break and give a shout out for some exciting news from Visit Colorado Springs. Our annual Crafts and Drafts Passport, which runs through December 31st each year, is available now with more than 20 participating businesses. The free passport gives you access to deals and discounts at craft beverage spots around the region. So whether you're a coffee fanatic or you love a good IPA, start your summer off right with deals and rewards that really are something to write home about. Sign up now at visitcos.com/passport. So, Jake, we like to go off script as we start to get towards the end of things here a little bit. And, one thing I want to say maybe before I ask you some of these questions, I want to thank you for your support, not only of our community, but for our lodging association. You and I both serve on the Pikes Peak Lodging Association Board of Directors. And as a non-lodging person, you have given your time to support the hospitality community. So I think it's just... It's who you are. You and Abby come to events together, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of our board at all that you've contributed and brought that creativity that has made you successful at what you're doing. So,
well, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, question one. In 3 words, how would you describe Colorado Springs?
Fun, diverse, attractive.
Fun, diverse, and attractive. Yeah, those all fit very, very well. Do you have a favorite little hidden gem where you like to go? Maybe it's where you and the family go, or whether it's where you go to just kind of claim it and just reground yourself.
Oh man, there's so many places. My family, when my daughters were much younger,
right,
we would go to church, and go to church was somewhere out in the outdoors here. If it was a light dusting snow on that Sunday morning, we'd go to Garden of the Gods because there'd be nobody there, and we'd make our fresh shacks. But we live up north a little bit, and I think the El Paso County parks that are around. Fox Run Park is amazing. Bear Creek.
Yep.
And there's some, I mean, if you were to pick up their map, there are some great hidden gems all throughout. So it's not just one spot, but especially the county parks are absolutely amazing.
That's great. That's great. All right. So you've lived here since 2009, right? What's still on your bucket list that you haven't done?
It's funny. We're going to Cave of the Winds. That's on our summer list here.
Okay.
We're going to do some spelunking.
Yep. So you haven't done Cave of the Winds yet.
Haven't done Cave of the Winds.
All right.
We've done the river raft. That's always fun. Of course, all our friends that live in Arizona, they come here during the summer. So we've done a lot of different things. Yeah. We go down there when it's still cold here.
Oh, yeah.
The spelunking's going to be fun. There's still a lot of places on city parks and the county park map because there's like 25 to 30 places on there that we haven't hit.
Okay.
Even last year, we hit about 3 new trails that we had never done before, too.
Well, let this question kind of prompt you and Abby to think about it. Okay, so it's great you're doing Cave of the Winds. And Cave of the Winds, there are some little side attractions there as well, besides splunking, that will test your willingness and courage to do things that you say, I never thought I'd do that. But you'll have fun.
Definitely.
So let's make sure that listeners know how to find out everything they need to know about 1350 Distilling in terms of planning their trip and making it part of your itinerary. Where do they find everything?
Everything is at 1350distilling with an ing.com. And just so everyone knows, the 1350 are the 13 stripes and 50 stars of the American flag. But everything's there. We're also on all the socials at 1350 Distilling. And we have our calendar events, tours and events on our website. It's always updated, and they keep getting added.
So, Jake, when people walk in, if they were walking into Cheers, they would yell Norm. If they're walking into 1350 Distilling, do they yell Jake? Do they yell Phil? How often are they going to find you?
Yell Jake. That would be great.
Jake.
Yeah, yell Jake. You could yell Phil, but he's in the back. He's in the back. He won't hear you.
Come in and yell for Jake. Tell him you heard the podcast on Peek into COS. And we really thank you for just making our community a better place and just being an ambassador for our city and for our industry. So.
I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in it. And being around great people like yourself, Visit Colorado Springs, and all the other organizations that we work with, it's easy to want to be a part of that.
Wow, great. Well, Jake, let's have a final toast here.
And
thanks for being on Peek into COS.
Thank you.